Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show, built by Parr Lumber. When it comes to big or small projects around the home, Tony and Corey have got the know-how and the answers to make your life just a bit easier. Here they are, your Weekend Warriors, Tony and Corey.
Hey, welcome to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show, built by Parr Lumber. I'm Corey Valdez.
And I'm Tony Cookston.
Thanks for tuning in with us today for another great show. Today, Tony and I are going to be talking about outdated design trends. It's a really fun topic for us. We love talking about Tony's house.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Because my whole house is outdated. Yes. Corey has accused me of choosing a design to put into a new remodel or project that I've taken on in my house, choosing a design that is already outdated. I mean, I'm just putting it in and it's already going out. But as we've come to learn, all of these are relative. It's all relative. It's not cut and dried. It's not black and white. For the most part, it depends on how far back you go. You know, if you're looking at homes that were manufactured in the 60s, 70s, right? 80s.
Yeah, shag carpet.
There's a lot of stuff there that is gone.
Avocado green.
And even if it has come back in some form, it's generally a little bit different. Like, for example, brass, like bright brass or shiny brass, came back later as antique brass, which came back later as
Rose gold.
Rose gold, yeah. So, but it's a little bit different, and it was accepted in a different way. And if you're still using something that's as old as, well, bright brass, then it's probably just outdated. But the what brings us to the show, besides the fact that it's fun to talk about things that make us laugh, what brings us to the show is that if you have outdated designs in your home and you're trying to sell it, there's a very good possibility that those trends could prohibit you from being able to sell your home for the amount of money that you want to sell it for and in the amount of time that you want to sell it in.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's the thing is design trends are tough because sometimes things come in and they're so popular. For instance, shiplap. I mean, shiplap has taken the country by storm. Joanna Gaines, love her. Love chip, but shiplap is got to go. I mean, it has infiltrated every square inch of every house, I feel like, in the last several years. And when something like that happens, it gets to a point where everybody's tired of it. They're just sick of it. And if you're just putting it in your house, somebody walking in is going to go, ugh, shiplap. I'll be tearing that out. So it's too much money. I want to reduce the price of this house that you're willing to pay.
Well, I feel like that everything in moderation, right? And so shiplap, if done right, in the right amount, in the right place, and treated the right way, can still be a viable design. I just think that it's overdone, it's not done right, it's finished wrong, and some of those cases have caused it to, I don't know, maybe get a little bit of a stigma around it.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Anything in moderation can be good. You know, we've got some things on our list that are still pretty popular, but if you just take them to the extreme, you know, it's outdated already.
There's no question. It's somebody who's walking through the house is going to walk through all of the rooms and they're going to look at everything. And here was one thing that I gleaned from some an article that I read about a realtor who's selling homes, and one thing that they see very often that is a turnoff for the majority of buyers. Now, obviously, we're not talking about everybody, and this is something else that's important to keep in mind while you're listening to the show. If your home, if you're going to stay in your home, or you're going to be in your home, or maybe it's your forever home, which is a very common these days, aging in place, right? Changing your home to fit your needs because you intend to stay there through retirement, then you do whatever you want. You do you, right?
Sure.
Because you need to be comfortable there. You need to like what you see and you need to love it. But if you're in a situation where you're buying your first home or your second home and you're looking at potentially having homes 3 or 4 times down the road, then you want to make sure that your home is in top selling condition. And some of these things that we're going to be talking about for the majority of people that come to buy, it might be a turnoff for them. So we're not saying that these things are things you shouldn't do for everybody. We're talking about the majority, and honestly, all of this stuff is a matter of opinion, of course. So we're just ready for the hate mail. Just bring it on.
I know. I'll tell you right now.
At one point or another, we are going to offend almost everybody out there, probably. But remember, it's all in good fun, and this is what we're talking about, is the majority opinion.
Yeah, no, it's I totally agree. It's I'm one of those people that I don't like to, when I'm doing anything, I don't like to be on the cutting edge, because I feel like those things that are on the cutting edge, you're taking a really big chance, even though you might like it or really like it. It's just, it goes away so quickly. You know, I like the classic designs of things, in my opinion, but you know, we jumped on the grayish bandwagon here recently. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it happens. I mean, you do what you like, but again, it's, you know, in moderation, like you said.
Yeah. Here's something that I think about. You know, you go back to homes that were built in the 60s and 70s, and a lot of times what you find there are long hallways with multiple doors to get to the rooms, and those doors are hollow core, birch or mahogany doors that are stained, and they have the design is actually called Tylo, but like a Tylo bright brass hardware on the door. And that the coupling of that, the hollow core door, the flush birch or mahogany stained with the bright brass hardware, it's that whole picture that would turn off a buyer. They'd be like, oh, we got to replace all the doors and all the hardware in this whole house. That's going to cost us this amount of money. And so we would have to reduce the price by that. That's one example of something that could really happen, right? If it were, I'm not saying you can't have hollow core doors. I'm not even saying you can't have wood stained doors. And I'm not even really saying you can't have brass hardware, although it's not very loved.
It'll come back.
But when you have all three of those things, it dates the house, and keep making your house look updated is really what will appeal to the masses.
It's just hard to do. It's expensive to constantly change. Hence, I like to go classic.
Right.
I like things that are, that are going to stick around for a while.
Well, you know what makes updating things like your doors and your hardware less expensive is doing the work yourself.
True. Being a weekend warrior.
Yeah, being a weekend warrior, taking on those challenges, getting the advice that you need, talking to the people, right? Going to the professionals like Parr Lumber to get your materials for the project. Those are ways to reduce the prices and, of course, learn a lot. There's a lot of reward built in there, and then you can do an upgrade like that and come out on top on the other side.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about some design trends that are getting a little tired and some that are already way beyond that. So
we're definitely
going to be a fun show.
We're definitely going to slam some avocado green shag carpet for sure. So stay tuned. You're listening to Tony and Corey, your weekend warriors. Don't go away.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show. Thanks for staying with us. If you haven't already, go check out our Instagram and Facebook. We're at WW Home Show. Also, we're putting all of our video podcasts on YouTube and a bunch of other really cool videos we shot and have been working on this year. You can go check those out at youtube.com/WW Home Show. Or if you just can't remember any of that, you can go to parr.com. That's PARR. Click on the Weekend Warriors link. That'll take you over to our website. All of our information is there. Our email address, weekendwarriors@parr.com. So feel free to email us. And we love getting our questions and comments. And mostly, we want good ones, though. We don't want the bad ones.
Yeah, and pictures of drawings of Corey's facial hair are also very funny.
With crayon, like gray, black and gray crayon.
Yeah. So today we're talking about outdated home design trends. I'm going to just give you an example of one. This is a super easy one. The house that I grew up in from, let's say, 6 till 18, right?
Mhm.
The house that I grew up in had a basement, and basements aren't super common
Not in the Pacific Northwest.
in the Pacific Northwest, but I grew up in a home with a basement. And in the basement, the walls all were covered with wood paneling. This was stained wood paneling, right? Or at least it looked like stained wood paneling. It was probably just a sticker or something that was on there. But the thing with it is that it made the room really dark. And no matter how much light, you put in there, it just made the room dark. Now, that was a thing, people liked to be in dark rooms, in the 70s, 60s, right? That time frame. But today, if somebody is buying your house and they walk into a room and it has wood paneling on the walls. Now, I'm not talking about wainscot, right? Or that type of paneling. I'm talking about wood painting, stained wood paneling.
I think we get it.
You see what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Do you completely follow me what I'm talking about?
Well, here's a newer one that's very similar to that.
If they walk in there and see that, they're imagining dollar signs that they're going to have to spend to update it.
To paint. Well, even painted old wood paneling looks terrible.
It does. Absolutely looks terrible.
Yeah.
What people will accept without giving it a second thought is drywall, tape, mud, texture, paint.
I can paint.
Right?
That's actually, you make an interesting comment there. You said paint or a sheetrock, tape, mud, and texture. Texture on the walls, like orange peel, kind of like what we have in the studio.
Yeah.
This is going out of style.
Really?
Yeah. The orange peel textured walls are going out of style. It kind of screams production, row home, those sorts of things. More and more popular, I'm seeing level 5 smooth wall, which is very difficult to do. You have to have craftsmen that really know how to do sheetrock really well to be able to do it. I mean, most sheetrock guys or gals probably can't do it.
What is the difference between a level 5 smooth wall and a level 1 smooth wall?
I don't know. I'm not a sheetrock guy.
This is something I already know.
I have just heard this from my contractors that I talk to all the time in homes that I'm visiting that are in various stages of construction. A lot of the newer, higher end homes, smooth wall, and it's called level 5 smooth wall.
Really? Yeah,
It's expensive.
I would not have guessed that at all.
Yeah, well, the reason that they came out with texture in the first place, if you think way back, lath and plaster, that was an art form. People would put up this lath and then skim coat plaster, just lots and lots of plaster, and they would just work it until it was perfectly smooth and just looked perfect. And that was a really, really nice look. But as time progressed and we came up with standard framing techniques, you know why we frame 16 inches on center?
No.
Because plywood is 4 foot wide. That is literally the only reason.
Interesting.
That we have kind of created this standard of 16 inches on center with 4 foot
by
wide
8 foot,
4 foot by 8 foot plywood
and sheetrock.
That is the only reason. And to combat this level of production building, when you're doing that on a fast pace, your walls aren't straight and they're not perfect. And to combat that, they came out with texture. That's exactly it. Just all the texture is there to do is hide all of the imperfections in that wall. That's it.
It's all about saving the almighty dollar.
Exactly.
Huh?
So they come in and they spray it down with this spray texture, and then it looks better than not the fully imperfected wall, because I know for a fact this wall right here is loaded with imperfections. This is a shed.
Yeah.
So we had some sheetrock professionals come over here and make it look good, and by doing the texture, they were able to do that. But that's going out of style.
Interesting.
More and more, I'm seeing really smooth walls, and it's expensive. But I think I prefer it. In my opinion, I prefer the smooth wall.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been in a few homes that had a brocade texture on the walls, which I thought was really cool and super different, right? Kind of like the texture you'd see on a ceiling.
With like the half moon shape?
well,
like the
yeah,
really heavy half moon shape.
it's more like they put it on and it's real sparse, and then they put another one on, and you end up with voids sort of in the face, right?
Oh yeah, like a Southwest,
Like a knockdown,
stucco,
really
yeah.
heavy knockdown kind of texture, which is really cool also. But
Santa Fe.
if you're trying to wipe spaghetti sauce off of that because you flicked it off of your plate, it's going to be hard to get to.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's just one of those things. It's a design trend. Anything, like I said, anything that's overdone. And orange peel is really overdone.
I mean,
Walk into any production home.
I feel
Almost any production home.
I feel like this is one of those things that will not fully go away. I feel like this
No.
is so widely accepted, at least in the Pacific Northwest. Didn't you the one that told me that East Coast more commonly goes with smooth wall?
No, I don't know.
Did
I
you
don't know
have
about these
textured
guys.
walls in Michigan in your home in Michigan?
No, not in my home. The home I grew up in was built, in the 40s or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or 30s. So no, it was smooth. It was lath and plaster,
Interesting.
but it was smooth. It was all smooth wall.
So getting rid of the paneling in the basement, going with something like drywall, whether you're going with a textured wall or a smooth wall or something, is going to give you a better return on your investment or a better selling price if you get that paneling out there and get something in there that people can visualize their own stuff in there. And paneling just doesn't appeal to the masses.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is a new version of wood paneling. It's called pallet wood.
Oh boy.
This is a trend that blew up. I mean, everybody in the I don't know, in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Kind of took off in this whole pallet wood thing, where people were just slapping different pieces of pallet wood and in formations on their wall.
Yeah. I mean,
Very popular.
I feel like it got blurred in with barnwood. Pallet wood,
Yes.
barnwood, old wood, used wood, recycled wood, all of that wood with rust and nail holes and black marks and all that stuff. It all just kind of blurred together to give you this rustic sort of look on what was originally going to be, I think, just an accent wall, but it started getting pallets began getting used for everything.
Everything.
I mean, I think people were thinking, hey, we can get pallets cheap or free, and we can take those apart, and we can use that to build this stuff.
You just drive around looking for free pallets.
Oh, man. It happens all the time. We get people requesting pallets at the Parr lumberyard where I work all the time. I mean, we give them out when we can, but, we reuse pallets until they can't be used anymore. So it's not always, they're not always laying around to be used.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what, if you've never taken a pallet apart, that is no fun.
No.
They put those things
is the
together
worst.
with screw shank nails and ring shank nails, and man, oh man, they don't want to come apart. And usually they've been beat up, and so the pieces of wood want to break. And
Oh, yeah. And they use cheap lumber.
Yeah.
They use a really low quality lumber. So when you're hammering it, trying to get those nails out, they break.
pallet wood is a thing of the past. We got to take another quick break. When we come back, more outdated design trends. You listen to Tony and Corey, your weekend warriors. Don't go away.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show. Thanks for staying with us. Today, Tony and I are talking about outdated design trends. In the first couple segments, we were kind of throwing out some really, weird, funny things. And the last one I talked about was pallet wood. And it was so popular. This whole pallet wood, barn wood, farmhouse, I guess, became very popular. I won't say her name again, but you know who I'm talking about. Has taken this shabby chic, farmhouse, modern farmhouse thing, I think, to the extreme. And although it is still very popular, even today, it's on its way out already.
Yeah.
You see these websites, you talk to the professionals, they're saying, yeah, it's out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, in my opinion, I think that there's still an attraction because of our reduce, recycle, reuse, right? We want to be not always buying new stuff, making new stuff, which reduces resources and all that stuff. But people still have a strong desire to reduce and reuse and recycle when they can. And using wood that has come from another purpose already is in my opinion, reason enough for somebody to do it for their space. I think what we just need to worry about, again, like we talked about before, is the masses. Is the majority of people that come to buy your house going to see that as valuable, or are they not? You see, they didn't get the satisfaction of reusing that material, so they just see it as what it is.
Yeah.
Some old looking stuff.
I'll tell you what, though, most of the recycled or wood that you see, like farmhouse, the shiplap thing from the show, the shiplap thing, that was started because they originally built the houses out of shiplap.
Right, exactly.
And so they open the walls and reveal the shiplap and refinish it.
Right,
well,
exactly.
The problem is the look that has generated from that is, there are 0 houses here in the Portland area that were built with shiplap. I mean, next to 0.
Yeah.
And so people have flocked to it. So they're just buying new material and putting it up.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. It's not that you shouldn't recycle and reuse what's in your home if there's nice stuff.
Right.
It
changes the entire purpose of why it became popular.
Totally.
There's a lot of older homes in Texas that haven't been already refurbished, and so that was an opportunity for them to save some money and still give it a new, fresh look, that's how that was born.
Well, and I'll tell you this, there is an entire company that is dedicated to making new wood look old.
Yeah.
They buy brand new wood, they run it through a process to make it look old.
Yeah. Age it, distress it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, it's
stuff.
not like, it's just, it's a design trend.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about, design trends.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's something else that I feel like is, this is something that I have read that...
Sliding barn doors? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, let's cover that. Let's cover sliding barn doors. Sliding barn doors are still really popular.
I don't know why.
Among a lot of people.
I don't know why.
But like you said, everything in moderation. And when they started putting barn doors on bathrooms, that's where they crossed the line for me. You see what I'm saying? I still like a barn door. I think it's a really cool look, and I think there's a place for it. But I feel like
barn.
I feel
That's
like
where it belongs.
I feel like it shouldn't be on the bathroom. That's my thing. The bathroom
Why?
has a door that closes and seals and locks and is solid core to keep sound and smell and other things out. And people, but a barn door doesn't do any of that. They generally don't have a lock.
No.
They're not closed on the sides or the bottom. It doesn't keep peering eyes out or any of that stuff.
That's the thing is, if I'm staying in a place like hotels for some reason have jumped on this barn door thing.
Yeah.
Probably because it was super popular and they're trying to stay with the thing. And, I've recently stayed at several hotels where they all have barn doors for the bathroom.
Well, they don't have any other door in a hotel room. That's the only one they get. So if they're going to do it, they have to do it on the bathroom.
Which is dumb. I mean, in my opinion, I got 2 kids and a wife, and we're sitting in this hotel room, and I don't want to know what's going on in the bathroom. And when you got a barn door, like you said, it's kind of wide open.
Yeah, wow.
There's like this 2-inch gap between the wall and the sliding wall. I mean, it's dumb.
I'll take the barn door over some newer design trends.
Oh, man.
Where they're doing bathrooms out of just glass.
This is true.
It's glass. I mean, it's not even opaque glass. It's not even obscured glass.
It's glass.
It's glass. And everything that's going on in the bathroom now becomes a production.
There are hotels out there right now who are remodeling their rooms and bathrooms and putting in glass walls and no door.
They're looking for the open concept because if the bathroom walls are glass and you can see through that, then you see a larger room.
Maybe. I don't
from
know why
the giddy.
I don't understand it because, if I don't know, I prefer my privacy in the bathroom and I don't want it. Like, again, I don't want to know what's going on in there.
Well, I'm just saying.
But that's the thing. The other thing that's going
happening
in the bathrooms that I don't like, that I feel like is a design trend that will go away sooner than later, is the curbless shower.
Oh yeah, yeah. You've seen this. These showers are in the corner of the room, just like any other shower, except on the floor,
It's just a drain.
there's no raised curb to keep the water in a specific space.
Yeah.
Instead, there's just a drain in the middle of the floor, and when you turn the shower on, everything in the room gets wet.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
The water just gets in on the toilet, it gets on the sink, it gets on the countertop, it's all over the floor. If you've got a change of clothes in there that you're going to put on, or the towel that
Soaked.
you're going to use to dry off after, it's all wet. Yeah.
Yeah, I've stayed in hotels that have this as well, where they have like a really short, maybe 2-foot wall up against where the shower is. But at the back of the wall, it's just like wide open. And you set your stuff down. And again, you turn on the shower and it's blasting you, water spraying everywhere, getting all over everything. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I will never get it. I mean, maybe somebody can call in or send us an email and tell us why it's such an amazing design. But I don't know.
When was the last time you were in a house that had arched openings or arched walkways or arched doors?
I don't know.
I feel like that the last time I was in a home that had arched doors, it was not here. It was in, some very big, like, Street of Dreams home or a Tour of Remodeled Homes home where they had 8-foot doors and it was arched on top. But just throwing an arch in the house, in your house with standard size doors, in my opinion, it takes away from it. I just absolutely think that square top doors is the way to go. Too many arches over the fireplace and arches over the doors and arches over everything is just it can just be too much.
Well, it kind of goes the way of the Tuscan kitchen. You like those Tuscan kitchens that were so popular in the 90s, where you had natural stone everything and really dark wood in the kitchen. It was so luxurious back then. It's way out of date now. But back then it was the same thing. There was like these big arches even in the kitchens. And the range hood was a big arch.
Yeah,
arches everywhere. And I know what you mean. I think that was a 90s thing.
Yeah, I think if you've got an archway that does not have a door in it, you've just got a half round archway or whatever. If you were just to take that out straight up to the ceiling and just open that whole, the room would look so much bigger. Yeah, I think maybe even just squaring it off just makes it look bigger. But the archways seem to just make rooms look smaller, and it's kind of the opposite of what most people are going for today.
Pretty specific.
It really is. Yeah, we got so much more to cover. I'm really excited about the next section of list. But before we get there, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, more outdated design trends with Tony and Corey. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors. Thanks for staying with us. Today we're talking about outdated design trends. And I got a good one for you, Tony. And I know you're going to hate me for this, but inspirational quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the form of wall decals or wall art, where you walk into the kitchen, there's a big sign made out of wooden letters or something, or lit up letters that say, eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kitchen.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Live, laugh, love.
Love.
Yeah.
Life. Those things are I've never liked them, but even more now, like people took them to the extreme, and I feel like that is a design trend that's heading out.
Well, it's another primary example of moderation, right? I know that's very common to have those things, but if you have them in one spot, right? If you have one wall that you want to put some pictures and some inspirational quotes or some words that make you feel good when you read them or see them, right?
How about this?
Have it on a wall. That's okay to have a corner that's got some of that stuff on
Have it as a
there.
Wallpaper on your phone.
Nice. Well, Yeah, I don't know.
So here's the thing.
It's just a thing, like you said, that needs to be in moderation. I don't think it's gone. It's not going to ever go away all the way. I think it's just going to be something that's maybe just keep it small.
If you have so many that every wall in your house is encouraging you to the point where it sounds condescending,
Oh,
might be time to take those down.
I mean, it can be overdone. There's no question. It can be too big. It can cover too much of an area. It can be in too many rooms.
It's kind of like the keep calm and carry on posters.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
were super popular for a minute. And then they even had variations, keep calm and drink coffee.
Right.
Keep calm and sleep well.
Yeah.
It's out.
Yeah, it's out. That's out for sure. Here's a little overview of that exact thing that you're talking about, inspirational quotes or that sort of a thing. Overly personalized decor, right? So if your thing is Western style, right, with antlers and cow skulls and very Westerny type stuff with chaps and spurs and all of the stuff that goes, all of those Westerny type things, horses,
cowboy wallpaper,
border wallpaper with saddles and all that.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing: you love that stuff and you have it in there, right? But when people are coming in to take a look at your house to buy it and they're seeing all that stuff, they're thinking, man, we have to change all of that because it doesn't appeal to us. I think that overly personalized is going to be something that deters people from buying your house or paying the full price for it.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to just take some of that down and make it a little bit more, less personal and more for the majority.
If you're trying to sell,
If you're trying to sell, exactly. You want to appeal to as many buyers as possible.
I mean, if you're super into Batman and your whole house is like the Bat Cave, whatever, it's your thing.
Okay, so
But if you're trying to sell it, you want to slim that out a little bit.
So now the adverse to that, right, is too plain Jane. Nothing on the walls, or everything that's on the walls is super, super plain, and the place looks like maybe it's an abandoned hotel room, right? It does need to have some personality.
Oh, yeah.
People need to be able to go into each room and see each room as being different, as a place where they can be comfortable, a place that they can, be warm and personalize as their own. So the spaces need to be different and not all the same thing, but just not too personalized and overdone. So there's a gray area in there.
Have you ever stayed in an apartment or a rental house?
Oh, yeah, so many times.
And the rental house company or whoever owns it just paints everything in the entire house white.
Yeah, the same color. Everything's
just
the same
flat
color.
white.
Yeah.
Like they buy the 5-gallon jugs of flat white and just roll everything.
Yes.
That's, I mean, I've lived in that. The last rental house that we had, I painted the walls because I couldn't take it.
Oh, yeah.
We painted everything. Well, not everything, but we painted our bedroom and then we painted a couple of walls in the house because we couldn't stand the white on white on white on white.
Yeah.
And we had to paint it all back before we moved out, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah. I agree with that. It needs to have some personality, but just not too much of your specific personality.
All right, here's another one that's still super popular. Mason jar stuff. Mason jar anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's a design trend that's on its way out.
Mason jar lights.
Mason jar lights, mason jar candles, mason jar everything.
Yeah, mason jars.
Yes, they're super. I mean, whoever Mason is, the guy made $1 million.
Yeah. Here's one, Corey, for you. This kind of goes way back. This is not something that I've had going on in any of the homes that I lived in, but a super formal living space. Like the couch has got a plastic cover over it, right? And the rug is an absolute no-no whenever you go in that room. You can't touch anything that's on the mantle or on any of the shelves. Everything is absolutely perfect, and you're not allowed to spend any time. You're afraid if you spend any time in there at all, touch anything, you break it, and you're going to end up spending the rest of your life paying for it.
Well, it's like the plastic furniture. It's like grandma's house. You walk in and they have the reception room or the front room, the living room, and nobody's allowed to sit.
Yeah.
Unless you have company. And then if you have company over, then you have to sit on the plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I know the room.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, those super formal living spaces that nobody ever actually lived in. It's got a grand piano in there, and some 20-foot tall ficus plant or some kind of a monstera or something in there.
With an uplight.
Yeah. A giant fireplace, with a big old stained glass screen on the front.
I'll tell you a kitchen design that is going by the wayside, or a couple of them. I have a few in the kitchen that I'm seeing going away. One of them is the kitchen desk. It was almost a necessity. It was where the family met, where they had the computer, and when computers kind of came out, you didn't have anywhere to put it, so they came out with this desk area, where the family would meet and pay the bills.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Everybody has auto pay now.
Everybody has laptops now.
Everybody has iPads or laptops or a phone.
Right.
And, I don't.
Wireless computing.
No, who writes checks?
Paperless. Everything is paperless now.
You look at the family unit and how they operate. The family kitchen desk area is going away.
It was just a collect-all anyways.
It really was. I believe it. I have one.
I had one.
I have one now. And we actually do use it, but it's not so built into our kitchen. It's more of a separate area across the kitchen with some other storage, and that's where we have our computer. And we do use that space, and it is good for the kids, but I'm more talking about the ones where
it's like a little nook.
Yeah, like a little nook in your kitchen.
Right next to the refrigerator.
Yeah, where the countertops are low. And,
Yeah.
it's just filled with stuff.
Yeah, always just became a collect-all in all of the houses that I was in.
Yeah, those are going away. And here's another design trend that I see going away. It's distressed cabinets. Distressed anything, really. That is a very popular design trend, or has been, that I feel like is going away. You see the shabby chic kind of thing. It all kind of goes back to that farmhouse thing.
Yeah.
That it's just overdone and it's kind of going away.
Yeah. Well, that was definitely a way to take away from the stuff that was just too uniformly perfect and people wanted it to look a little bit used but still be new. Like look used but be new.
Yeah.
And to sort of get that to get the comfy feel. Anyway, but you're right. I feel like it's been overdone, and now it's people want something that looks new.
Yeah, and here's one honestly that is still really super popular that I'm getting tired of and that I don't like is the open concept. This quote unquote gigantic great room, kitchen, dining room, living room area that's a catch-all.
Very, very popular right now.
It is, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like open concept is a term that I hear constantly.
Well, it
constantly.
started because you had the opposite. You had homes,
Boxy.
the homes that you had a formal dining room, you had a kitchen, you had a living room, you had a front formal living room, you had a den, you had all of these different closed off spaces and rooms that we took it to the opposite. We said, let's tear all these walls out, every one of them, and we'll have a kitchen, living room, dining room, rec room, great room in one giant space.
Yeah.
I hate it.
More design trends when we come back. You listen to Tony Corey, Your Weekend Warriors. Don't go away.
Listening to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show, built by Parr Lumber. When it comes to big or small projects around the home, Tony and Corey have got the know-how and the answers to make your life just a bit easier. Now, here's Tony and Corey.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show, built by Parr Lumber. I'm Corey Valdez.
I'm Tony Cookston.
Thanks for sticking around with us today. We're talking about outdated design trends. We're making people mad from front to back.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things that we're talking about are still super popular. People are still putting them there in their houses. And I mean, I know people right now who are in love with the things that I'm saying I hate.
Right. But that
I mean,
doesn't
it's my
change the
opinion.
fact. Yeah,
No,
that
it doesn't matter.
doesn't change the fact that people are going to come in and say, you know what, there's a reason why I don't want that in this house. And
Totally.
because of that, I'm not gonna be able to pay the full amount because it's gonna cost me money to fix that.
Right. Or it's going to steer me away.
Yeah, here's a primary example. Not because it's old and ugly, not because it's not amazing. Marble countertops. Marble is gorgeous and expensive, and that was all people wanted for years and years. But they came out with quartz, and quartz is not porous, and it doesn't stain, and it's more durable. It doesn't have to be sealed. It's less maintenance. I mean, it's not marble, right? Which is amazing, but it's so much easier to take care of, and it is less susceptible to damage and that sort of thing, that it simply has pushed right in and taken over.
Well, and same goes for granite. Granite in the 90s, in 2000s, that's all everybody wanted. If you had granite in a house, that's all that mattered to people. They're like, they would go to the kitchen and say, it's got granite, done. Sold.
Yeah.
And it changed. You know, people don't want granite anymore for a lot of reasons. Like you said, you have to take care of it. You can't put hot things on it. You can't take a hot pan and put it on there because it could potentially crack.
Yeah.
It does stain. You spill red wine on it, it will soak in. So yeah, like the quartz that has come out is pretty much bulletproof, indestructible. So
yeah, it's just taken its place. And so that's just another reason why. Now, there are certainly still people out there that want marble and like marble and don't mind taking care of it and aren't worried about damaging it. But the majority of the people are going to be looking for something that's a little more durable.
Yeah. Here's another one, design trend that I just remember this being so big, watching, the HGTV shows. You couldn't watch one of those shows without hearing about an accent wall or a statement wall.
Yeah.
That's going out too.
Yeah.
Painting one room or one wall in a room.
A contrasting color.
Bright red.
Yeah. Yeah.
That pop.
Well, I'll tell you what, that pop is not terrible if it's in the right spot. And here's a primary example. Your front door. That's a great place to use a pop of color because the front door, something that you see from the curb and the curb appeal of the home can be altered in that way and still, appeal to people, to even the majority of the people.
Well, yeah, that's a newer design trend that's actually come out more recently in the last few years, is to really go crazy on the front door. You drive through these newer neighborhoods and you'll see lime green. You'll see, robin's egg blue, and it's something that traditionally you would see stained wood. Stained wood doors are long gone. You can't even barely buy them anymore. You can, but they're just not very popular in a modern style home.
But it's not because of the look.
No.
That's not because of the look. That's because they've come out with fiberglass doors that can be stained and look exactly like a wood door, except it's not susceptible to checking, splitting, cracking, bowing, twisting, cupping, all of the things, swelling.
Absolutely.
That wood doors do. Wood doors are very expensive. They're hard to take care of, hard to keep from, going the way of the dodo bird. And if you can get a fiberglass door that will last forever and have as good of properties as a wood door and look just like a wood door, that's the way to go.
Therma Tru's fiber classic doors are unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
You see them I literally had to tap on it to convince myself that it wasn't wood.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely.
But, like I said, it's a design trend. Here's another one in the kitchen that I've never liked, that I've recently found on some articles saying that it's an outdated design trend, is the open shelf.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you like this, or I know you did.
Yeah, I mean, I have some open shelves still.
The wood pipe, or not the wood pipe, the black pipe, industrial, bolted to the wall with a piece of wood.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was ridiculous. This, for the same reason that I think glass front, kitchen cabinets are ridiculous. Because who is going to, in their right mind, going to have to worry about your dishes on the inside of your cabinet looking good. That's really what we're talking about. You walk in, if I open up my cabinets in my kitchen right now, you walk in and it looks great.
Because the doors are closed.
Exactly. You open up all of those and see inside, it's ridiculous. Who has time to like stage their kitchen cabinets?
Plus, all of your dishes have to match. They have to be the same color. They have to be the same shape. I mean, if you open up one in there and you've got a Mickey Mouse bowl and a Bugs Bunny cup and all of those different things that the kids like to have, it kind of is a weird look, right?
Do
you really want to be showing that off?
That's kind of the thing behind the open shelving decline, is that it looks really cool if it's staged and it just looks great in a magazine, but in reality, when you put it in, you're constantly having to make it look good.
Yeah.
And if you will use something, you got to put it back and straighten it out and make it look all neat on the shelf.
We've got a lot of open shelving in our dining room area, which is, open to the kitchen. And so it's in the kitchen area, it's in the dining room, but we don't keep our dishes on there. We keep other things on there, milk glass and some things that are decorative that we like there.
Yeah, you have collections of things.
Yeah, but it's in our situation, that open shelving, because I put it up, I can also take it down. And I could go back over that with some spackle, repaint that wall, and it'd be like it was never there. So that's something for me that's easy up, easy down. And I don't have to worry about that keeping someone from buying my house if I'm selling the house.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Here's another one. Giant clocks. Have you seen these?
I mean, yeah. I have a giant clock in my office at work, actually.
You do?
Yeah, it's about I'd say about 32 inches wide, 32 inches tall. It's round.
Well, it's made a list.
It's a big clock
of outdated design trends.
Yeah, so this is where I kind of draw the line. And I know you and I see this a little bit differently, but something that is integral to the house, like the front door, an archway.
Sure.
Those types of things. And then something that is just decoration. The difference between design and decoration. I see a big gap between design and decoration. The home is designed and built that way. Decoration is added after. So
I see them the same. I just see one easier to change.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if the clock in your living room would give Big Ben a run for its money, I think it's too big.
I mean, mine's not that big, but it's a pretty big clock. It's not in my house, though. It's in my office.
If you're looking at your watch, and the clock on the wall is actually,
More outdated design trends when we return. You listen to Tony Corey, Your Weekend Warriors. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show. Today we're talking about outdated design trends. But if you haven't already, you can go check out our Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. If you go to our website, you can go to www.homeshow.com. We're recording this for our video podcast right now. You can go listen to that or watch that. We've got tons of videos on there that we're promoting. So if you go like those and subscribe, we would love that. Or you can go to Parr.com. That's PARR.com. Click on the Weekend Warriors link, and that'll take you right over to us. Our email address is weekendwarriors@Parr.com.
Weekendwarriors@Parr.com.
So if you got questions or comments or anything like that, you can send it to that email address, and we'll get it. It comes right to us.
You know what's going out, Corey? Linoleum.
Yes.
Linoleum.
Well, that went out.
Well, it's
if you still have linoleum.
What do you feel like is replacing linoleum?
LVT.
That's right, LVT. LVT is probably the most common thing being used where linoleum would have been used before.
Luxury vinyl tile, I think it's called.
Right. Luxury vinyl tile.
Thick vinyl. It's like bulletproof. You would see LVT if you go to like New Seasons and you go into the produce department.
Where they deport things.
The produce department at like say New Seasons or Whole Foods or something like that, or any really nice grocery store. You walk into the produce department and the floor looks like it's wood, like wood flooring.
Yeah,
that's not wood flooring. It's LVT.
LVT.
That stuff is really nice.
Yeah, pretty great stuff. I feel like that's where, I mean, linoleum obviously was super inexpensive and waterproof, and so that was something that was used for a long, long time. Marmoleum is another product that I feel like has maybe reached the end of its life, or at least very nearly the end of its life.
Yeah, marmoleum.
Yeah.
That's just a heavier duty. It's more of a commercial grade of linoleum.
Yeah.
Kind of, right?
I mean, I think so.
I don't know a ton about flooring.
Marmoleum didn't have texture to it. Like linoleum has texture. Like when you run your hand across it, you can feel all the little whatever texture in there. But marmoleum was smooth. At least the marmoleum I had experience with. But it's all going away, so it doesn't matter.
Any vinyl, those thin vinyl checkerboard tiles.
Absolutely.
Those are probably coming back, to be honest. Here's another one that's long gone is 3-tab roofing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here's the thing about 3-tab roofing. 3-tab roofing stuck around for so long because it was the least expensive. Even after architectural came along, it was the least expensive. But the fact is that architectural eventually took over, and now it's more expensive to buy 3-tab.
You're right.
People buy it still because they still have 3-tab roofing on their homes, and they need to replace shingles because it's flown off in a windstorm or whatever, or people still believe it is the least expensive thing. So sometimes they come in asking for it, and we're like, well, wait a second. Unless you're matching something you've already got, it's more expensive.
Yeah. It's a common misconception because it was so cheap for so long. You walk into any roofing store that sells only roofing, and they will tell you 3-tab roofing is so limited right now. It's more expensive because they kind of bring it in special order.
Yeah.
Anything brought in small quantities, you're paying more for. So the architectural roof shingles have taken over.
Yeah, another thing that went sort of the same way of that product was aluminum windows. So there was a time way back when aluminum windows were the thing to have before vinyl windows came on the scene. And aluminum windows had single panes of glass, which were susceptible to condensation and a lot of heat and cold transfer and all of that sweating kind of thing. And then aluminum windows became something that you needed to replace and put in an insulated vinyl window to replace it. Well, then eventually the look of aluminum windows came back, right? That sleek design, anodized aluminum. The look came back, but it came back with a thermal break and insulated glass windows, insulated glass in there so that it could perform like a vinyl window, but looked like an aluminum window and was so much more expensive. So it's funny because people would come in and say, I want to get aluminum windows. You'd be like, you're crazy. What do you want aluminum windows for? But they wanted that look, that retro look with the same performance of a vinyl window.
Yeah, they look super modern.
Yeah, they really do. It's great.
I'll tell you one thing that has gone, it's not really design trend, but this one, I remember this as a kid. We all had these, were water beds.
Oh, yeah.
My parents jumped on the waterbed bandwagon.
Oh, yeah.
All the kids had waterbeds. My parents had a waterbed. And growing up in Michigan, it was great because you could turn the heat up. And in the wintertime, you could jump into bed and it was like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, the bed was always warm for you.
Toasty.
Except for the night that you moved into your new place.
Oh, yeah. It was ice cold.
And you'd just filled it up with water. And you're like, well, what are you going to sleep in my waterbed? Yeah.
You wake up with hypothermia.
Yeah, more than one time I slept in a cold waterbed.
Yeah.
Never a good deal. But yes, I had a waterbed when I was a kid. Lots of memories in waterbeds. Yeah. Here's another one, Corey, and this almost goes without saying, but acoustical ceiling finish, like popcorn ceiling. People know it as popcorn ceiling. I've been in so many houses that had that acoustical ceiling. I don't know, whatever. There's another name for it besides popcorn, but
I always called it popcorn.
We've gone up there and scraped it all off. Gone up and it's not fun to do that.
Well, you got to be careful because sometimes that was, depending on how old your house is, it could have been sprayed up with asbestos. They actually would use asbestos clumps and spray it up there and paint over that. So you got to kind of be careful. I think you're supposed to get that tested before you start.
Well, fortunately, it's been a really long time since I've done that.
Scraping it down.
But it's a mess. Well, you don't ever have to want to get into a deal like that. But you're right. That could get to be a bit of an expensive task. But if you've got it in your house, I would say that you would be money forward. Hire somebody to come in and get that down and replace it with something a little bit more current.
Yeah. Here's a funny one. Track lighting. is a design trend that has gone away.
We have track lighting right here in our studio.
It's funny because we put it in our studio because we needed a lot of light.
Yeah, and
they were free.
And it was free, right, because we got it from a Habitat for Humanity restore.
But in general, the
idea is...
Yeah, the idea of putting up track lighting is
fortunately, we
gone.
don't have to worry about the resale value of our recording studio. So it's fine.
Totally.
But it does give good light, especially with these LED bulbs we got in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
What about beaded curtains? That's a funny one on this list.
Beaded curtains. That takes me right back to Greg Brady's room. At the top of the stairs, Greg Brady's room had beaded curtains.
It was actually in the attic, wasn't it?
I think it might have been, yeah.
His room, his personal room was in the attic.
That is very, very
the third floor.
60s and 70s right there.
Well, it's like, anything like fuzzy anything, shag carpet.
Shag carpet. I grew up in a house with
too.
Green shag carpet.
Mine was burnt orange. I remember it being burnt orange. What about Berber carpet?
Mine was mint green, and it matched the mint green paint on the walls. And
did you have a Kirby too?
And the built-in drawers and closets that were inside there. Yeah, that was
next to the curio cabinet.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. How about just interior rough sawn cedar, like shiplap inside the house, not painted.
Oh, like
not
real
smooth.
wood.
Yeah, real wood, unfinished,
outside of a cabin on Mount Hood
on a diagonal.
Oh yeah, that was so cool for a minute.
Yeah, we had that in our house growing up. That was a long time ago for sure.
It smelled really nice.
Yeah,
walk in and it smelled like a sauna.
If your TV in your house is as deep as it is wide, it's probably time
to buy a new TV.
To update your stuff. Yeah. If you've got more popcorn on your ceiling than the local theater has on the floor, it's probably time to update those ceilings. Am I right?
That's right. It is.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. Bow or bay windows.
Oh yeah, very, very popular there for a long time.
That's a trend that has gone away almost completely.
Like a window seat?
Or a garden window.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show. Thanks for staying with us. Today we're talking about outdated design trends. Here's a newer one, Tony.
Wait, were you about to say fake taxidermy? I saw that you had fake taxidermy on the list.
Fake taxidermy was so cool recently, and even having the taxidermy made out of plastic where it was like shiny. Have you seen these?
I have. Well, as a matter of fact, and I know that we've talked about this before. Your Christmas decorations include some deer heads, which are all white, right? It's just a deer head with antlers in your Christmas decorations.
No, they're actual reindeer,
They're supposed to be reindeer.
Well, yeah.
Well,
we're not just the heads.
It just looks like, I know it's a reindeer head. I saw it on your dining room table this last Christmas.
Well, it was connected to a body.
It wasn't.
It is.
It was just anyways, that's what that made me think of.
Oh.
Fake taxidermy.
Yeah, no, we have some reindeer little things that we put out.
Okay, well, what about white plastic, like a cow skull,
that's what I'm talking about.
Like a cattle skull.
Just the white plastic or, white shiny. That was really popular for a minute.
I mean, it's not always fake. What if it's real?
You can just spray painted it white?
Maybe they took the skull and they bleached it super white and then put an epoxy on it.
Yeah, sure.
Clear
Either
coat.
way, it's out of style.
Yeah. Taxidermy in your house.
Here's something.
There's a place in the house for taxidermy. If you're a hunter, right?
Sure.
And that's sort of a thing, is something those are trophies, those are memories, those are accomplishments, There's a room in the house for that. And it needs to be in that room. And that is what it is. I mean, it shouldn't be all over the house, because if it's all over the house, it just takes away from the essence of the home for the people that are looking to purchase it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, you're going to the purchasing thing, but
Right. I'm hanging out there
you
with.
can put it wherever you want it. I mean, it's your thing. It's just
But if you're staging your house to sell, maybe you take it down.
Yeah, the design trend of having those white fake taxidermy things
As part of your decor.
It's completely out of style.
I see.
Here's one that I'm guilty of.
Yes, I already know.
Edison light bulbs.
You love those things.
Well, I have 4 of them, and they are in bulbous glass fixtures that hang over my kitchen island.
Yeah.
You know, they're not like really popular thing to do was to have a Edison light bulb
In a mason jar.
or just in a socket hanging from the ceiling with like you know 20 others, you know, kind of dangling.
I still think they're cool.
I do too.
I think they have a place. You just don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, they have a nice glow to them.
Yeah, you just don't want to have them everywhere, but you can have them in a fixture. There's nothing wrong with having them in a fixture, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have them. I have 4 of them in my entire house, and they're hanging over my kitchen island because honestly, they're clear glass, you know, pendants.
Yeah.
They're big. I mean, they're about the size of a pumpkin, and these things are big and round and glass. So if I put a regular light bulb in it, it would look stupid. You know what I mean?
I see what you wrote here. If your house looks like a really fancy barn, then you have too many barn doors and shiplap in your house.
This is true.
I mean, like we said, in moderation, right? If your house looks like a really fancy barn, you've overdone it.
Yes. We talked about color pops. You know, that's having those big, you know, bold statements on the walls.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here's one that you're guilty of and that I've kind of never really liked is the vessel sink.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The vessel sink came, and I think it has went. You also in that vessel sink you have an old in your bathroom.
Yeah, it's like a dresser.
It's a dresser.
Three drawer dresser. Yep.
That you converted to a vanity.
I did. I took the fronts off the top 2 drawers, removed the box, and just fastened the drawer fronts back to the dresser. And then the bottom drawer is functional, so you can keep extra toilet paper or hand towels or whatever in there. And then up on the top, I drilled a hole and ran the plumbing up through the top, right? And so it's all accessible in there. And I think it looks really cool.
It does look cool.
Here's the thing about vessel sinks, honestly. You have to do it absolutely exactly right in order for it not to just be a hassle, right? Here's the thing. They make the faucets and they make the vessels. And they don't always sell them together. Sometimes you choose this vessel and you choose this faucet or whatever. The distance away from the vessel that you put the faucet determines how far into the bowl the water sprays when you turn it on. Okay, if you have to turn the water on full blast to get it to spray into the middle of the vessel so that you're not cramming your hands into 1/4 of the bowl to wash your hands, then when the water hits your hands, it splashes out
everywhere.
So you really need the faucet to reach over into the center of the vessel so that you can turn it on lightly and just drop the water down in the middle. But so many of the setups just put the water in the corner of the bowl. And honestly, that drives me crazy. I like ours, and it's not too bad as far as getting into the middle of the bowl. But having to wash my hands in the corner of a sink or a bowl, it just makes me angry.
Well, at any given point, if you have to touch the sink in which you're washing your hands, drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got this gigantic 2 foot by 2 foot square sink, and the faucet is about 2 inches in, and you got to kind of bang your fingers against the back of the sink. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that's frustrating. If you're going to do it and have it be great, then first of all, it needs to be usable. And it needs to not be frustrating. Right. And then on top of all that, it needs to look good.
Yeah.
And so it was my first attempt, and I don't hate it, but I'd do it differently if I did it again.
Yeah. If I did it again,
although
I wouldn't do it.
I would still do it again, though. I would.
Here's a funny one that happened to me. We were at a Blazers game a couple weeks ago, and I went into the bathroom. I used the bathroom. I was like washing my hands, and they had an automatic soap dispenser right next to the faucet. So you get your soap, then you turn the faucet on, and you put your hands on there to wash your hand, and it would activate the soap dispenser.
And it would just keep squirting it out?
Just keep squirting
Yeah,
soap
yeah.
into your hands. So I found myself like having to move my hands over to the right
Yeah.
and like kind of
Just barely
splash
the water over
there so I wouldn't get squirted with soap.
Yeah.
That's a bad design.
I washed my hands in a sink like that as well. Yeah, you'd think those people are going to go broke on the amount of soap that is just squirting into the bottom of the thing.
They're like, why do we have to keep filling soap?
Any finish that begins with the word faux
Yes.
is already a problem.
Faux. Or
You remember when they used to sponge paint walls? They'd take
Yes.
this like seafoam sponge and they'd put paint on it and then put
in
this
a paint
what
store.
they called a faux finish on the wall.
I worked in a paint store from like 2001 to 2005. And I swear everybody that walked in the door said, "Where's your faux sponges?
Yeah.
Where's your faux sponge roller? Where's, you know what I mean? They had rollers made out of fake sponge so you could roll walls faster than just hand sponging walls.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. Here's another one I'm thinking of. We're going to just jump into a few colors here, as long as we're, whipping through a few. Dusty rose. Right? If it's dusty rose, it's already a problem.
That's a 80s color.
Whitewashed oak.
Whitewashed anything.
Whitewashed anything.
Yeah, whitewashed oak, though. Whitewashed white oak.
Yeah.
Is pretty telling of the era in which you built your kitchen.
Whitewashed oak coupled with wicker chairs.
Oh, man.
You might as well be decorating a house at the beach, right? Whitewashed oak with dusty rose curtains and robin's egg blue whatever.
Well, if your furniture would be better suited on the front porch of a house in Florida.
Yeah, there you
or
go.
Or back patio. Might be time to get a new couch.
Might be time to get a new couch.
Here's another one in that same era. Brass metal coffee tables with glass tops.
Oh, yeah.
Glass top anything furniture-wise, I feel like is impractical and completely out.
Yeah, we got rid of our last glass top piece of furniture not too long ago. I feel better about that. We got to take one more quick break, and then we'll be right back. Don't go away. You're listening to Tony and Corey, Your Weekend Warriors. Hang in there.
Hey, welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Home Improvement Show. Thanks for staying with us. Today we're talking about outdated design trends, or just outdated stuff in general.
Yeah.
I mean, water beds, this wasn't really a design trend, but man, are those things outdated.
Yeah.
Here's, this one, to me, screams a certain era. Frosted etched glass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
we still have obscured glass.
Well,
and
yes.
You could even have frosted. Frosted is pretty universal, but there's some etched glass things that were available that have probably, like,
nature
I don't want
scenes,
to,
flowers.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was a design in it, like a deer or some flowers or a little basket of eggs or something, that says
bread loaves,
pantry. Yeah, but just obscured or just frosted is not terrible. P516, which is what they call a pretty standard obscured glass, which you would find almost in any bathroom that has obscured glass in the window. That's still very common. It's just when they put the designs in there, I think, and little pictures and things, it starts to get a little weird.
Yeah.
It starts to look aged and old.
Yeah, I agree. What about beige?
Beige.
Just anything beige.
Don't love that color.
I'll tell you what.
Isn't that the color we put on the walls in the studio?
No, this is grayish.
Oh, grayish, right. Grayish and beige.
It's funny to say that you want a neutral gray or a warm gray, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the color that's taken over recently, is this grayish, they call it, or some sort of browny gray color.
Yeah.
That's going to go by the wayside, I'm sure, very soon.
Well, I don't know. That super neutral, earthy, light, non-invasive color will probably stick around for a long time. They'll just figure out ways to make it a little bit different, but it probably won't go away completely. We talked about, in a show here a few weeks ago, we talked about acrylic freestanding tubs and how amazing they are. The alternative to that is those tubs, big tubs that you see in the corner of the bathroom, complete with surround framing all around it,
terrazzo tile or
yeah,
whatever. That,
people put like little decorations standing and little plants and things in there. Yeah.
Here's what happens with those. They get they get covered with Barbies because that's where you have to bathe your little daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, those things, I don't get them
Yeah.
because they're just so ugly.
They're
and they're
so
massive.
big. Yeah.
It takes 450 gallons to fill them up.
Wastes so much space in the bathroom. It makes the bathroom look smaller. Freestanding acrylic tub is definitely the way to go now. It takes up such a small space, works really good. They're amazing. So yeah, that's definitely something that's long since gone. What about in the kitchen? A hanging pot rack.
Yeah.
I don't know where I keep all my pots because I don't have enough cabinet space to hide them. And so then you have to go out and buy all new pots so that they don't look like old pots hanging from a rack over the island in the kitchen. That is, wow. I mean, in my opinion, that is gone. That is ancient history.
Here's another one in the kitchen. Over-the-range microwaves.
Yes.
The whole putting the microwave / vent hood over your stove.
Yep.
And I mean, that is, it's not really a design trend as much as it is a cost-saving thing because you kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Sure.
But I hate it. I had that in my kitchen.
I had it in my kitchen.
We eliminated it.
We eliminated it.
Moved the microwave over to its own little spot.
Yep.
And then we have a very own range hood above the range.
The way it should be. I believe that is the way it should be. And it definitely looks so much better, operates a lot better.
Yeah.
And the microwave can be reached by the children and not have to be on a stepping stool.
Well,
What about farm sinks? You've got farm sinks on the list, and I know you have a farm sink in your kitchen. Do you love it?
I love my farm sink.
Why would you not have it?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just one of those things that has, again, it's taken over. It's so popular that professionals or whatever are saying, no, the farm sink's out. What's coming in, becoming very, very popular, is the big stainless steel sink.
Like just
That
one
looks-
big giant sink.
Yeah, that looks like a farmhouse sink, but it's stainless steel.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
That's getting popular.
Interesting. So we're back to stainless steel, but bigger.
And I have a farmhouse sink. We did our kitchen remodel, 4 years ago now, 3
Yep.
years ago.
Yep.
And we were kind of right in the heat of that thing, and we love it. I still love it. But I tell you what, it is cast iron with enamel.
I
It's
know.
enamel cast iron.
I helped carry that
That
thing.
thing is a beast.
It's a beastie.
But it scratches
Oh no.
super easily. So if
Really?
you put your pots and pans in there, you got to be careful. I had to actually buy a stainless steel rack that permanently sits in the bottom of that sink, so you could just put things in it. Otherwise, it would
Be tearing
would
it
be-
up,
It
huh?
would be wrecked.
You'd be refinishing it.
Yeah,
I wonder if you can refinish it like a tub, maybe.
I'm sure there's people that do that. I wouldn't attempt it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
How about
that's-
glass block? Glass block anywhere in the house, but very commonly, I think you found it in the bathroom.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Glass block in the bathroom. And you know what? Glass block gave way to plastic block or acrylic block. And so it wasn't even what it was.
I'll tell you the only place that I find glass block acceptable in Art Deco design. From the 1930s, incorporated into a building, backlit glass block, I think looks really cool in those Art Deco designs.
Mhm.
Miami, is a really big Art Deco.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool there. But yeah, in the bathroom, and this is another one, Tony. This is another design trend that I find so bizarre, is having the bathroom from, say, your master bathroom in the corner of a house with two big, giant floor-to-ceiling windows and no window coverings.
No window coverings. Yeah.
I have been in several homes, Street of Dreams, these big shows where you walk in and it's just like, oh, hi, neighbor. I'm taking a shower.
Yeah.
I'm using the bathroom. I don't get it.
I mean, I tell you what, it's really cool, in my opinion, to be in any room that has big windows. If there's a view, right?
Sure,
if you're looking out over,
back up to a 40 acres in Montana,
right?
go for it.
But if your neighbor's 10 feet away,
Right.
that's weird.
There was a house.
There's a time and place. Anything
there
in
was a-
moderation.
There was a house at the Street of Dreams 2 years ago where right next to the toilet, like literally, if you were sitting on the toilet and you looked to your left, there was a floor to ceiling window. And right there, outside of that window, was the front entry to the home. So as you're standing in there, and they had window coverings for the middle part, and it was kind of a 3-piece window. So they had the top part and the middle part, but the bottom, like 2 feet, there was no window coverings. So if you were sitting on the toilet, somebody standing out there would just look in and see your feet.
Just see your feet in the toilet,
And
and
they'd be like, I wonder what they're doing.
and maybe your skivvies around your ankles or something. Yeah, that's
I don't know.
That's weird. Yeah, there's some weird bathroom situations out there, but something that's really common in designs past, especially in bathrooms, is pastels.
Oh, salmon.
Pastels.
Well, you already said it. Dusty rose.
Dusty rose. Yeah. What about canary yellow?
Oh, yellow.
Avocado.
They say that yellow makes you hungry, so that your kitchen is a good color to paint yellow.
Well, I don't want canary yellow in my bathroom. There's nothing in there to eat.
Here's some other big ones. Fake stone cladding.
Oh yeah, terrible.
Yep.
Especially inside the house.
Yeah.
I mean,
It has its place.
outside.
Dry stack, still pretty popular.
Yeah.
But some of those really
Around the
cheesy,
fireplace is
cheesy
okay.
fake stone cladding.
Yeah.
Big fake tropical plants. That one's kind of gone bye-bye.
A 4-poster bed with chiffon draping. If your bed has more ruffles than a bag of potato chips, then you need to get a new bed. That's what needs to happen there.
What's wrong with ruffles? What about a palm frond ceiling fan?
Oh yeah, I've seen those a lot.
They
work really good, actually.
I had in the house I live in now, the main living room's big vaulted ceilings, and they had this palm frond ceiling fan
Yeah.
with like shells, like beach shells holding the palm fronds on. And it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it looked like it was coated with sheetrock
Was it wicker?
texture.
Were the
No, they
blades
were
wicker?
white.
Oh,
The
interesting.
whole thing was white,
Yeah.
but it was like coated with this, texture.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful.
What about carpet toilet seat covers and a carpet toilet tank cover and a carpet rug
I know.
that hugs the bottom of your toilet?
I remember going to college and buying those, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
It seemed like the thing to do.
Or furry. Yeah, that's different. That's all the time we got. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. This has been another episode of Your Weekend Warriors right here.
The Weekend Warriors Radio Network.
Have a great week.